Trying to pin you.
There.
Good picture of you.
Look what I found, brains. Oh my goodness. All the way from, she says, Manchester, England. We're going to ask her how close that is to London. Welcome to a version of the Podcast Potluck here on the Edge with April Mahoeny. You know, you recognize this logo. It is the place where the conversation is pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never dull. We have Lynn Hope Thomas. She's incredible. She's a business analyst or a former business analyst, and she lives, again, across the pond in the UK. She's gifted with working with people that have trauma and a lot of grief. She has been under the tutelage of the great Jack Canford. She's an author of 2 books. Help me welcome her to the Edge. Hello, Lynn Hope Thomas. Welcome.
Hi, April. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm really pleased to be catching up with you.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Just have a conversation. And, you know, I'm not in London. I didn't bring scones, but I did bring...
Oh, how lovely.
I brought one apiece. So thank you so much for coming here. Tell us all about you. Introduce yourself to my brains, would you?
Okay, well, my name's Lynn Hope Thomas. I was born in the town of Bolton, which is near Manchester. I grew up, though, in Shropshire, in Shrewsbury, where the great Charles Darwin had his education. And I left school. I started working in business administration. I started life as training to be an accountant. And I then moved over into information systems and how much do you want to know about me, really?
Well, I mean, you know, so you evolved from that point, and so now here you are now. You used all your experience, your life experience. You had shared with me some trauma that you had went through with the loss of twin sisters. Did both of them pass away?
They did. Within a month of each other. I call it my 9/11 because I was 9 and they were 11 years old. So as you can imagine, at that age, back in the 70s, it was, you know, people didn't really talk about death. It was, you know, people just kept quiet. And so there I was kind of a little girl who didn't know what to do with all this grief. I just kind of buried it in my body. And I think in some respects, I was fortunate being a little girl because I went out and played. I played with my friends. But inside, I was like sealing it all in my stomach. It was like, I call it like my washing machine. I would just push it down.
Were they sick, or was this a progressive illness that they had?
It was a genetic illness. In their kidneys, they started to grow cysts. And what they did lots of investigations, and there was only something like 12 cases around the world.
Wow.
And they didn't know what, you know, if anything they could do, because in those days, they were only just doing heart transplants, so they didn't do kidney transplants. And unfortunately, they both died within a month of each other.
Wow. So I know that was pretty traumatic on you. Those were your only siblings?
They were.
Yeah. Yes. So that was traumatic. So now as you thrust forward in your life, did you suppress that? What brought you to the awakening that you are now?
I didn't even know that I had suppressed the grief because you just get on with life. So, but what happened, I over the decades, I went through trauma after trauma. So in my relationships, my marriages, they would end disastrously. And it caused a lot more grief, a lot more of that horrible sort of emotion stuff. But fast forwarding, when it got to the third divorce, I'd actually got
yourself, girl. I ain't mad at you. You can pull. You can get them to marry you 3 times. That's something right there.
And I've got a nice collection of wedding rings.
That's right. And don't give them back.
And I don't give them back. And I've got lots of wedding gifts. And I also had some very nice parties. Let
me ask you a question. Since you brought this up, how are you in the space of love now? You know, you've had the trauma, you've had the tragic divorces. Are you really open to love and just really being vulnerable to another person after experiencing that 3 times?
You know what, April? I'm always open to love.
Oh, I'm scared of that.
Yes, I'm terrified. No, I made a choice after the 3rd one to bring my daughter up in a stable environment. So I didn't really want to mar that with dating men and it maybe going right, maybe going wrong. It wasn't that I was scared. It was that I wanted to like protect my daughter. I didn't want her to think that mummy went out with lots of...
Right. Mama's loose. It is,
Man,
you know,
she's a loose woman.
But it's hard, you know. You gotta kiss a couple frogs till you find a prince, and then you know you don't want to subject your daughter to that and all that, and your own emotional trauma. So you've done some deep work. Okay, you've worked with a great Jack Canfield.
Well, before that I worked with the great Dr. John DeMartini. So
really, wow.
Yeah, I left the country after the 3rd husband and went to Australia. And that was where I discovered all the wonderful work. I trained to be a DeMartini facilitator. And that was what uncovered my spiritual awakening and made me realize. That's why I wrote my first book called Breaking Through Loss, which it was because I realized that the buried grief it kept repeating in my relationships. And until I could solve that internal problem, then it meant that it would just keep repeating in my relationships. But not only that, I discovered that you can help people who are grieving in a very short space of time. We're talking an hour, 2 hours. You could take somebody who is suffering from a deep grief, a recent grief, and they will be feeling better by the time you've worked through a process and transformed them from the one state to the other. And it's quite incredible. And that was the main reason I wrote my book, because knowing the pain of grief and bereavement and realizing that you don't have to go through that.
Right.
Not that you don't have to go through it, because I think it's a natural human emotion, but you don't have to live the emotion for a great length of time.
And there's so many aspects to grief. You know, grief, it could be financial, it could be emotional, it could be spiritual, it could be the loss of a job, it could be the loss of a pet. That's a big $25 word, grief, and what people are feeling. So you wrote, which one did you write first? Did you write Loss or Breakthrough?
Oh, it was called Breaking Through Loss.
Breaking Through.
Oh, the Breakthrough book. So that's the Breaking Through Loss book, which is my personal story and what happened when I worked with John DeMartini.
Okay.
And then I wrote this one a couple of years ago called Breakthrough, and it was with all these other wonderful women around the globe who also had breakthroughs.
Wow.
So,
is this the video that I have linked on my page as well, that you were speaking at the podium?
That's got some of them in there, yes. That video starts off with some of these women when we launched the book. It's a not-for-profit book, so all the proceeds go to charity.
And you can get that on Amazon, correct?
Yeah, you can get both of them on Amazon.
Brains, you see that? Put those covers up one more time.
Oh, here we go.
That's right. This is what we're doing here. We're trying to get a breakthrough. We're breaking through loss. Okay, she's dedicated her life. She's suffered through anxiety and all this ugliness, and she wrote it in a book for us. So get on it, please, and purchase a copy of them. They're on Amazon. All right, so I want to ask you a couple fun questions. What in the world do you do for recreation out there in Manchester, England?
In Manchester, England. Well, we don't. We have the Snow Dome, and I love skiing. So if I can't get to the real mountains, then I'll go to the Snow Dome and ski there. That's one of my great passions.
That's a man-made snow?
Yeah,
okay.
Man-made snow.
Okay.
And I also, I've got a little dog called Chanel. She's a Cavapoo.
Really?
Chanel, I can show you. Come here.
Look.
You've got to see this girl because she's so cute.
Oh no, I might have a boyfriend for Chanel.
Look at
Jean-Pierre.
that. Oh!
Look at the girl. Right. Say hello. It's your 15 minutes of fame. Look at her. Look at her, Pierre. Oh, Pierre, you ain't getting her.
Is that a Chihuahua?
No, it's a Pomeranian. He was the runt of the litter. Shh, don't tell him that. And they were going to euthanize him, and I said, absolutely not. I'm going to take him and love him. And here he is 14 years later. Well, look at that. Is your dog a rescue?
Oh, no, she isn't. She came from a farm in Yorkshire.
Wow. Well, I'm glad to hear those wonderful things. So please tell my brains how they can get in contact with you. I think this has just been such a relaxed, warm conversation. Thank you for opening up to us. But before we close, I want you to give us one or two real valuable takeaways that has been instilled in you or that you have poured organically into others to really kind of help us with our trauma and our grief, words of inspiration. Just give us some juice.
Okay. Whenever we go through anything that is difficult emotionally, it's only through like our pain that we can really find the other side to that. So if you think of when you break through loss, you actually break through to a gain. But in reality, everything is balanced. So, and it's being able to see that. When you can see that, like, for example, in a lot of situations, when people look back over time and they look back at an incident that happened, often they will laugh at something tragic that happened, because with the age of wisdom, you realize that actually you learned a lot from it. It did you good. It exercised your heart muscles. It exercised your mind muscles. And what the method does that I use, it cuts out all those years. You don't have to wait 10, 20, 30 years to learn the lesson. You can learn that within an hour or two. And then you're in a place where you feel good and you feel wholesome and you can move forward like a lot quicker. So instead of brooding over it, another thing with going through difficult times is to get out there, is to do exercise, take action, get with people, find people who are going through something similar. So at least you feel that they understand. Because I think one of the things people feel is when they feel misunderstood or they feel they can't talk to anyone. Right. You've not to keep it inside. Get it out there. And now we've got the internet, we've got these podcasts. You can talk about these things with groups that just are happy to talk about them. So that's a good way of releasing that emotion.
Exactly. And so we have to clear our space. Please tell my brains how to get in contact with you and how to purchase one of the copies of your books, please, Lynn Hope.
Okay, well, you can go to Amazon. If you go to amazon.com /author /Lynn Hope Thomas, you will see my books there. You can go to my website, which is lynnhopethomas.com, or you can email me at hello@lynnhopethomas.com and ask me any questions. If you want to know anything about getting through difficult times and you want guidance, then by all means contact me. And
Brain, she's only a point and a click away, and that's what we are here on The Edge. Thank you so much for coming and visiting with us and introducing our puppy loves and giving us some inspiration, some clarity on how to work through the grief and to work through the trauma. Because you know what? Every day there's going to be some grief and going to be some trauma that's going to show up. But what is most important, Brains, is how you react to it, how you respond to it, how you receive with it. Sometimes you just got to sit with it and marinate in the cut. And that's what we do here on The Edge, where the guests are pointed, guests are sharp, and responses are never dull. Thank you again for coming in, and go back and visit us. We are all over the planet: Spotify, LinkedIn, Twitter, Mixcloud, iTunes. Follow us, leave some comments, buy some books. Love you, Brains. Talk to you soon. Bye, Lynn.
Bye, Brains.